video was made possible thanks to the support of assetprotection.au, supporting security professionals achieve more with the Aritech range of products.
This video is going to be on the procedure for upgrading a Discovery from firmware version 1 to firmware version 2. We log into the panel, go to Install menu, scroll right down to firmware settings at the bottom, and here we need to upload the Discovery firmware file. This file can be found on the Aritech website, aritech.com.au, under Resources, Software Firmware, select the type as firmware, select the brand as TCOM, and then that will give you the available firmwares. Download the latest version. Go back to your Discovery, select the folder icon, find your file, make sure your file's listed below the upload file window, press upload file. This will take some time to load. You need to just let it do its thing. If it appears to be stalling, there are some scenarios where you need to do a default on the panel before doing this. Now, it is very important when doing a firmware update that you do a backup of your panel first. So make sure to upload all the configuration into CT Plus before doing this, because then you'll be able to just download straight back into it and keep all of your configuration. Okay, so this upload of the file has completed. So now the Flash Upgrade Firmware button has appeared. If that appears to stall, you may need to do a default on the panel. That's done via the reset button on the rear of the panel. You press that button, hold it down until the LEDs on the top start flashing purple. Then when they start flashing purple, you release them, and that will do a reset of the panel. You'll need to put in the IP address again to connect to the panel. And once you do that, retry the process and it should work. Okay, we've backed up our database, we've uploaded our file, so we're ready to start the upgrade process. So press Flash Upgrade. Now it lets you know panel will reboot. Do you wish to continue? Yes. So this has started the process. Now it gives you a status down here. Again, sometimes it can stall, but usually goes through no problems, and it can take quite a lot of time. Now mine has just come up with an error. So although a few error messages did appear, I let it do its thing, and it appears that it has loaded the firmware correctly. If I look at the login screen which just appeared, at the bottom it says TSX 2.83641, which is the uploaded version. So we now should be able to use the new Discovery login. For cyber hardening purposes, they have changed the login. The username is master@discovery.local, and the password is available from your distributor. Once we log in, we'll notice there's a What's New button. This gives you an overview of some of the changes that have been made. We can also confirm we're on the right version by seeing here TSX 2. Some things you'll notice have changed. User management has been introduced. So now you can set up all your users, door groups, floor groups, things like that directly on the Discovery. There's also a different installer menu. Things like areas, regions have been added. Communications has also been rehashed. This is also apparent on the keypad. If you look under communications on the keypad, you'll notice it's in a different location. One thing to note with the firmware update is that there have been instances where a new setting, which is Enable Web Interface, actually gets disabled as part of the update. So it is important to be aware of that. To remedy that, and the symptom you'll see is the web interface won't load. The remedy for that is to go into the keypad, install the menu 19, communications, which is 1, and setup, which is 1. And one of the first options there is enable web interface. It is also highly recommended at this point that you do a default of the panel. Now that it's loaded up the new firmware, the database internally has changed quite considerably. So by doing a default of the panel, it allows it to reset with its default values and get the database set up correctly. This is quite important because it will allow you to download all of your prior configuration from CT Plus without any problems. I will put a link below. There is a guide on the Aratech website that goes through the full upgrade procedure, including all the backing up the database, system reset, turning the web-enabled page back on, everything in there that you should need, everything that I've gone through can be found there.